Okay. Okay, I'm going to show everybody how to change this Valley shower cartridge. This is an extremely difficult cartridge to remove. I had to use a pair of channel locks here, these channel locks here, and I had to kind of grab it like this, wiggle it around a little bit, and try to grab the ears here, these tabs here, and wiggle it around a little bit, and then try to pull it out as much as possible. I also try to use a flathead screwdriver here. It's my this one here. My flathead screwdriver, and I try to pry it a little bit. It was an extremely difficult cartridge to remove. Once I pried it out a little bit, I could get to the this O-ring here, and I could just kind of push it in, and then this part would come off actually. This part actually would come off. But now it's not coming off, but what happened was that when I pushed it in, this part came off. If I can get it off again. Yeah. This part came off, and this part was still inside. So what I had to do is I had to use a pair of channel locks again, and just try to wiggle it around a little bit and try to pull it out. This is an extremely difficult cartridge to remove because normally there's these O-rings on the side here, these O-rings around here, and it creates a pretty tight fit inside that that pipe there. So I had to try to wiggle it around to pull it out. But now that I'm finished, I think I can continue with installing the new cartridge. Make sure that you do have your new cartridge with you before you remove the old one. Okay. Okay. So it came along with some silicone grease. The cartridge came along with some silicone grease, but I think they didn't give me enough. You know, manufacturers never give you enough things anyways. So I bought my own from Home Depot here, and I've seen in the instructional videos it tells us to use it liberally on the cartridge. So the instructions on the back of your cartridge say put it inside the core, and I put it along here and here on the O-rings, and hopefully that'll be good enough. Maybe put some in the core as well here. Okay, now I've greased the core with the silicone lubricant, and what you have to do is you have to put the core inside this pipe here, and you have to kind of slowly push it in, because if you don't slowly push it in, the O-rings are going to bulge out. So you just have to keep them in place, slowly push it in a step at a time, and then make sure the parts don't bulge out. Make sure the O-rings don't bulge. Keep it in place. Keep it in place. If you're having trouble putting it in, it might mean that the O-rings are bulging up. Just keep it in place. Maybe put some more grease. Just use your fingers to keep these O-rings in place. push it all the way in, like so. Okay, now I'm going to put the bonnet nut on here, the bonnet. Just going to hand tighten it here. Have to make sure my tabs are in place. If they're not in place, you can just kind of turn this core until they are in place within the tab slots. And then you put the bonnet nut on here. Now I can leave it as hand tightened. I think if you really want to be sure it's tight, you can use channel locks and just twist it a little bit here. Okay, I think that should be tight enough for this one. Okay, now with the bonnet nut tightened over this cartridge, I can put the other plastic parts back on here. These are parts that were taken off originally from the old cartridge. So I can put this one here, make sure it goes into the groove here, and then put this one over it like that, like so. And then this one is for your faucet dial. You can put it over here. Make sure these curves are aligning. Okay, and then put this dial over here, and this is what controls your on off. Okay, as you can see here, this is back in the original off position. This is the off position for my faucet here. Originally, when the cartridge came along in the package, this flat part was down here a little bit, but after putting these cartridge plastic parts on, it helped adjust this this knob over here to have the flat side facing right. And then I put this dial back on, and then I can start to put the other parts back on. Okay. Oops. I forgot one part though. Forgot to put this part back on. 1 second here. I have to take this bonnet nut off. Put this sleeve on here. Okay. When it goes in one position, put the bonnet nut back on. And maybe just tighten it a little bit. Just tighten it slightly would be okay. Put the other plastic parts back on here. Put this dial back on. Make sure it turns. And put this cover back on. Squeeze for it. Here's my Phillips screwdriver. This part's the easy part. this fits over here. Okay, good. Screw back in. Returning. Okay, after the dial is back on, here's a moment of truth to see if it really works.